Hello everyone and welcome to another video with Cass on the Maizuma channel. So today I bring you my new Blaze farm model. It's extremely simple to build, looks really good, and as you can see we are able to accumulate more than the allowed number of entities according to the new entity cramming rule for the game. So as you can see here we have more than 300 entities in one place. And yeah, this is really simple to build, really nice design. So I really wanted to show and share this with you guys. I also built this in my last episodes in survival, and that was a really fun experience. This was really fun to build. So yeah, let me show you how it works, and let's get straight to the tutorial. Before anything, I want to mention that the work I did here was heavily based on the findings by Pi314 as well as Namebone MC. So I added links in the video description in case you guys want to learn a little bit more about the theory behind this. And the way it works is we just have the spawner up here, and the blazes will spawn, and eventually they will want to move somewhere. But most of the time they want to move towards the center. If I get to game mode 3 here, you guys can see in the center we just have a funnel here. It's very important that everything around them is built out of glass or at least non-solid blocks. So as you can see, they really want to go towards the center because basically they think that they can path through those corners in here. Those corners are where the magic happens. They think that they can get to any of those solid blocks here on the floor, and they have the buttons here just to prevent other mobs from spawning in here and causing new problems. So most of the time there are not a lot of blazes up here because they take a little while and then they all move towards the center, as you guys can see in here. The crushing system is super simple. It's a pair of pistons, and yeah, it just operates on a clock, and then it rolls all the entities down there, and when they come down here they will split because there's a trapdoor here, so they will eventually go to one of those sides. And we have the ladders here, and this is what allows us to accumulate a lot of entities here without entity cramming interfering. If you don't want this kind of mechanic, this chamber down here can be built in any size that you want. So if you're building on this trap on a server, I would recommend you to not use the ladder so that you won't accumulate as many entities, because you have to be very responsible with this. You can really crash a server if you accumulate too many in here. So just get rid of the ladders and make this chamber larger so that you can accumulate up to 240 entities at once, for example. And back here we have a bunch of solid blocks to cause the entities up there to move quicker. This is completely optional, and the redstone is really simple. It's just an Ito clock back in here and a nighttime elevator here so that we can get the items in here. So let me just kill those guys off. I'm using sweeping edge on the sword, but those guys are all one hit kill, so if I punch them and not destroy the farm, I'm sorry guys, that was a mistake. Let me get to game mode 1. Game mode 0 and try this again. So if I just punch one guy here, he will die instantly because they are all one hit kill, as you can see. But if you use sweeping edge, you can just aim at the center and they will all die at the same time. So let's see how many levels we can get from killing more than 300 entities in here. Of course we're gonna get a little bit of lag because there's probably more than twice as many entities in here because of the items that they drop for now. So yeah, control your items in here if you want as well. There's a minecart to collect everything, or you can just store them directly in here. I used lamps in here to indicate that the item elevator is working, just in case. Those buttons are here just to prevent mobs from spawning. You could use glass as well, but you would be able to see the minecart behind everything in here. So let me switch to game mode 3 and show you guys. So yeah, there's a little minecart going back and forth around here, so tons of XP. So let me get back to game mode 0 so you guys can see how many levels we can get from this. This is crazy. So yeah, anything above level 30 is already good enough, so you guys get the idea. And to stop the machine, just flip the lever. Lava will pour down up there. I have a little window here just because I like to observe how the AI tricks them into going inside this little funnel here at the center. But you can get rid of those blocks and make the farm slightly more efficient by having solid blocks in here, and those guys will target those solid blocks, and the farm will work better. And yeah, this is basically how this works. And if you guys are interested in knowing how to build this, I will just show you now. The first step is, of course, finding a blaze spawner. Of course, you can find those in the nether fortresses. A spawner like this will work pretty fine. So for my design, it's best if you get rid of all the blocks around it. So with most of the fortresses that I checked out, it's pretty common, pretty easy to find a blaze spawner where there are no blocks around it. But of course, it will still work with the blocks around it. And if you want to know more about it, I would recommend also checking Namebone's MC channel. He has a video explaining exactly how this works and how you can take advantage of places like this. So for sake of clarity, I will do the tutorial in the overworld just to show you guys better how to build the farm. Once you clear the solid blocks around your blaze spawner, those are the distances that you have to cover and encase everything. So from the top of the spawner, you have to give it a space of 2 blocks and 4 blocks from all the sides, as well as 6 blocks from under the mob spawner, and then you can build a little bubble of glass in here. Glass allows you to see everything. Also, those blocks are not solid, which is very important for this mechanism to work, because we are trying to manipulate the artificial intelligence of the blazes to trick them into funneling towards the place where you want them. So let me build this and I will be right back with you guys. So this is how it looks once your cube is done. So you can see the distance from inside in here and inside here. Of course, those blocks are just to indicate what you should do. You have to poke a hole right in the middle in here, and then you make a tube that is 2 deep like this. So let's see it from the side, and inside your cage you just break those blocks, so you kind of build a path in here towards this tube. Now let's build the crusher. So decide where you want the front side of everything to be and place this pair of pistons in here. So you will have a solid block here for suffocation and a observer block in here. But once you power this, these guys are going to be extended all the time, which means that sometimes a mob can spawn on top of this. So if you want to avoid that, you can, for example, use a piston in here. You can use glowstone as well, for example, but I don't like moving blocks that emit light, so as to avoid lag sometimes. And then you can just power this using a torch in here. You will also need a second torch in here for the mechanism, so you can as well add this right now. We're now going to work on the top, and this is only useful if you want to be able to turn off your farm. So following the same line where the crusher is down there, you break those blocks until you reach the spawner, and up here you want to have a dispenser facing down right on top of the spawner. So this will also avoid blazes from spawning on top of this. And then you place a line of solid blocks in here, but first you should place the observer block in here, and then here a regular piston facing down. Make sure this is not a sticky piston. It's not going to be a big deal, but it's better if you make sure that this works. Now complete everything with solid blocks and then use redstone dust on top. Mobs will not spawn on top of any of those blocks in here. Following this line down here, you can also place another regular piston facing up right in there. Now we're going to build the chamber where the blazes will be after they get crushed. So go 2 blocks down from here, and this is the block where they're going to stand. Notice that you can expand this chamber to whatever size you want. So once again, on servers, I would recommend just building this chamber large enough so that you can accumulate enough blazes. So for example, if you make it 10 large, you would be able to accumulate up to 240 entities, which is enough for you to get lots of XP. And of course, you're gonna cover all of this with glass so that they cannot see you ever. But if you're building this in single player, or you really know what you're doing, you can build this just 3 wide, and then you can place ladders in here and as I mentioned before, those ladders will make the entity, will trick the entity cramming rule into not counting the entities that you have in there, because they're not going to collide with each other. So yeah, this is your chamber in here, and this is basically your access point for killing the mobs. This would be the standard chamber, and you can poke a hole here and place a trapdoor on this block. So this is how it opens, and this is how you need to have your trapdoor as well. Before doing the redstone, you should place a lava bucket inside your dispenser up here, and at the same height as the spawner, you should place signs in here. Place the signs all the way, so cover every block that you have in here, and basically you're going to cover this entire layer with those signs. So just hold shift and keep placing your signs until you cover everything, so that lava, when the lava pours, it doesn't go down there. This is how the top looks when finished. We will need 5 stacks of signs. So let's do some redstone now. Your input is going to be right next to the killing chamber, with a lever right here, and then this gets a redstone dot, and this gets a torch. Down here you're gonna have a repeater on 4 ticks, and then down here I would just place those blocks in here. You will need a total of 2 levers, so place the first one in here, and the second one is going to be your input, of course. And down here you will need hoppers. Why don't I have hoppers in my inventory? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 support block. You're gonna need 7 hoppers down here if you want to do this exactly as I do. Of course, this is going to bring the items to the storage, but you can do your storage somewhere else. It's just how I did mine. This is how I'm going to do the tutorial, so feel free to change this if you want. So powered rail, regular rail, and powered rail in here, and in there you're gonna get a hopper minecart and place it sitting right on the unpowered one. Now for the Ito clock, so place a sticky piston right there. You also want to have a redstone block in there, and on the opposite side, of course, another piston. A little bit hard to place. I need to train my skills. So down here, just build a line. Pretty much anyone knows how to build those things. 2 comparators to the side, and then those hoppers need to face each other, so you just need to hold shift and place 22 items. Has to be exactly 22 items inside those hoppers. Redstone dust in here. This redstone dust cannot power this torch, so what you want to do here is to just use anything that will pull the redstone wire to the side. So I just use a button in here, and this should work. You can also use a pressure plate or a tripwire hook. And also you need to place 3 slabs extending from the torch tower, and then you are done. And if everything is right, this torch will end up turned on all the time. Alright, so if you want to have your storage right next to your killing chamber, just like my design, you want to place 3 droppers facing up. You can place those guys using holding the shift button, and this will work. So down here you place a comparator on subtraction mode, so this little lamp has to be lit up. Then an observer block in here, solid block, redstone dust, another observer in here, and more redstone dust in there. Don't forget this piece of redstone dust. So here you can break those blocks, and you're gonna make a clock in here. This clock is designed such that for most of the time your droppers will not click. They will click sometimes, but this will be mostly silent if you use the timings like I'm doing here. 1 tick in here and 2 ticks in there. So here is where you're gonna place your chests. You can use all regular chests, so I'm gonna use 3 double chests. This should be enough for my design. And actually I placed this in the wrong place. So yeah, one is aligned with your input lever, and one above and another one below. And here you can have your hoppers. So hold shift, 1, 2, 3, all facing the chests, and then on the side another hopper. Yeah, and this should be your storage done. Now this is very important. We need to build a platform in here. This platform needs to be made out of solid blocks, and this is exactly what will trick the blazes into trying to go to this area, so they will all funnel inside this little chamber in here. So what I did in my design is just measure this and go 3 blocks from this. You can place more blocks. I think you can go up to 5 here, and those are still going to be statistically valid. I just go 3 out of this, and this is just enough. So we need to fill all those blocks from this, and on this other side in here I also go 3 in this direction, 3 in the other direction, and now just fill everything up with solid blocks. So this is how the platform looks when you're done, but as you can see, mobs will start spawning in here. So you can cover this up using redstone dust, for example, because it's mob proof. You can see it's the pigment spawning in there because I changed the biome here into being the same as in the nether. So you can probably just cover this up with buttons. Buttons are good. They don't get powered by this block in here. They're also mob proof. Don't place trapdoors or anything different from this, because then the mobs will not trace any paths towards those blocks in here. Up in here there's an option. You can trick the AI to go towards the funnel in the center a little bit quicker if you build a second platform. So you can just build a path towards this. So just build it like this, a little staircase in here using all solid blocks, and then you can cover this up using more solid blocks and use the button trick once again. This is how the second floor looks after finished. Don't forget to place your buttons on top of the staircase and make sure that the path works. Another good idea is to not build this section out of wool blocks, because they will burn from the lava. So yeah, make sure to have blocks that don't burn up there. And now we need to connect this section to the actual control system in here. So to do that, we just use a observer block here as a dual edge detector. So now we build another torch tower in here, redstone dust, and a repeater on 3 ticks. Punch a hole right next to the other torch tower. Place your second solid block with a torch and a sticky piston in here. And from up here, just place another observer block facing up, and this is going to control the top of the circuit as well. So as you can see now, the farm is turned off, so the lava should be poured. So yeah, if you have a situation like this, you just need to come in here, break this torch and place it again. Don't do it too fast, otherwise this block will be spit out. But as you can see, the lava is there. We are in the overworld for the sake of the tutorial, so we can't see the lava extending 8 blocks to the sides. It only extends 4 blocks to the side, but in the nether, of course, it will cover all the signs that you placed in there. So now let's make it nighttime so that blazes will be able to spawn, and let's run our first test. So you will turn on the farm by flipping the lever, and we get our first few blazes in there. I have a redstone dust, piece of redstone dust floating in there, but that shouldn't be a problem. So if you guys would collaborate a little bit. So as you can see, it's already starting. They are all funneling towards the center. Well, at least one guy went there. The other guys will eventually come in there. I also created a little window in here, so if you have this floor completely filled up with solid blocks, it will be slightly more efficient, of course, because they will be able to target those blocks. But if you want to observe their behavior, it's also useful to have a little window. So I just made a 3x3 glass window here that lets me see if they are all funneling towards the center, just because I like watching. Okay, so let's see if the crusher is working. So I should get to game mode 0 in here and punch this guy once. It's working, it's working. They're dropping their items. If you throw any item in here, it should pick it up and then bring it to the storage. So this is also working. And if we flip the lever again, there should be light up there, and as you can see, the lava is pouring up there, and it looks like our system is working. So guys, this should be all for this farm. As you can see, it's really easy to build, it really looks good. And yeah, another nice idea is to cover everything down here with solid blocks, so that the blazes can also target those blocks. You also need to cover the redstone block and blocks like this, so that other mobs will not be able to spawn inside of your farm. So yeah, just cover up everything, make it a solid giant volume in here. So yeah guys, the farm is functional, it's working. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just post in the comments. If you need a map download, just ask. So thank you very much for watching guys, and see you next time. Bye.